I always knew Rachel was a selfish brat growing up, but I never thought she was capable of this. I mean, we fought like any sisters do, but stealing? From Mom? That's a whole new level. It started last spring, right after the diagnosis. Dementia. The word felt like a sledgehammer, knocking the air out of me. I sat there, staring at the doctor's mouth moving, but all I could hear was that single word. Rachel, on the other hand, was already in action, tears streaming down her cheeks, clutching Mom's hand like a martyr. "I'll take care of everything," she said, voice quivering, her eyes locking onto mine with that sickly sweet smile. "You can focus on work, Liz. I'll handle Mom's bills, the house, the finances, everything." And like a fool, I let her. At first, it was little things. A missed bill here, a late payment there. Rachel always had an excuse. "The bank mixed up the accounts," she'd say, brushing her perfectly curled hair off her shoulder. "You know how these things happen." And I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Rachel was the golden child, the one who got straight A's in high school, the one Mom bragged about to everyone at church. Meanwhile, I was the one barely scraping by, working 2 jobs and drowning in student loans. But then, things started to change. Rachel's wardrobe expanded almost overnight. Designer handbags, expensive jewelry, new shoes in every shade of red. "Oh, they're just knockoffs," she'd say with a dismissive wave, but the tags told a different story. And then there was Mom's credit card bill. I found it buried under a pile of unopened mail on Rachel's kitchen counter. My heart pounded as I flipped through page after page of charges that had nothing to do with medication or doctor visits. Fancy dinners, spa treatments, a weekend stay at a luxury resort. I confronted her once. Just once. "Hey, have you been using Mom's card?" I asked, trying to keep my voice casual as I sipped my coffee. Rachel's eyes narrowed, her jaw tightening. "Are you serious right now?" she said, tossing her hair over her shoulder. "I'm the one taking care of Mom while you're off working. Maybe you should be thanking me instead of throwing accusations." And I felt it. The guilt, the shame, the nagging feeling that maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But then the power got shut off at Mom's house. Unpaid bills. Unpaid bills that Rachel had sworn she'd taken care of. That was when I knew something wasn't right. It's a Wednesday evening when I find the first real clue. I'm at Mom's house, sorting through a stack of unopened mail Rachel left in the hallway. Most of it is junk. Coupons, donation requests, a magazine subscription Mom hasn't read in months. But buried beneath the clutter is a credit card statement with Mom's name printed at the top. I flip through it quickly, my eyes skimming over the usual pharmacy charges and grocery store runs. But then I see it. A $412 charged to Bella Luna Spa. Mom hasn't been to a spa in years. She barely leaves the house. I keep flipping, my fingers trembling. A $327 charged to a high-end boutique downtown. $189 at a steakhouse I know Mom's never stepped foot in. My heart pounds. These aren't Mom's charges. These are Rachel's. Looking for something? I jump, nearly dropping the stack of bills. Rachel stands in the doorway, a glass of wine in hand, her red nails gleaming in the fading light. She's dressed like she's going out. Tight black dress, heels that could double as weapons. "I was just sorting through the mail," I say, trying to keep my voice casual. "Found some unusual charges on Mom's credit card." Rachel's smile doesn't reach her eyes. "Oh, that. Yeah, I took Mom to the spa last month. She was feeling really down, with the whole dementia thing. I thought it would cheer her up." "And the boutique?" I ask, holding up the statement. "The steakhouse?" Rachel's jaw tightens. "Jesus, Lisa! Do you have to interrogate me like a cop? Mom said she wanted some new clothes, and the steakhouse was her idea. She was craving a good ribeye." I study her, searching for a flicker of guilt, a slip of the mask. But Rachel's face is a mask of indifference, her eyes cool and steady. "You know what, Liz?" she says, taking a slow sip of her wine. "Maybe if you spent more time with Mom instead of burying yourself in work, you'd know these things. But you're too busy, aren't you?" And there it is. The gut punch. The one she's been using for months. The one that makes me feel like the worst daughter in the world. I swallow hard, fighting back the words I want to scream. How dare you? How dare you make me feel guilty while you're bleeding Mom dry? Instead, I set the statement down on the table and force a smile. You're right. I should spend more time with her. Rachel's eyes narrow. For a second, I think she knows what I'm planning. But then she shrugs, tossing her hair over her shoulder. Exactly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date. A date. While Mom is upstairs, sick and confused, and wondering why her electricity got shut off last week. As Rachel sashays out the door, I make a decision. I'm done waiting for proof to fall into my lap. If Rachel is stealing from Mom, I'm going to find out, and I'm going to make sure she pays. The next morning, I sit in Mom's living room, a steaming mug of coffee in hand, staring blankly at the pile of unopened mail. It's all still there, just like I left it last night, scattered across the table like pieces of a puzzle waiting to be solved. Mom is upstairs, sleeping. Rachel isn't here. And for once, the house feels quiet. Too quiet. My phone buzzes with a text from Rachel, heading to Mom's for lunch. Be there soon. I swallow back the bitterness rising in my throat. Of course, she is. I glance around the room, at the bills piled high and the empty wine glass Rachel left behind. The house still smells like her expensive perfume, a floral scent that's too strong, too cloying. I need answers, and I know exactly where to start. Sliding my phone into my pocket, I head upstairs. Mom's room is dimly lit, the blinds half closed to block out the late morning sun. She's curled up in bed, frail and small beneath the blankets. Her hair, once thick and dark like Rachel's, is now thin and silver, splayed across the pillow like a ghost of who she used to be. Mom? I whisper, stepping closer. Her eyes flutter open, and for a brief moment they focus on me, clear and bright. Lisa, she murmurs, her voice scratchy and weak. You're here. I kneel beside the bed, my hand finding hers. Yeah, I'm here. Just wanted to check in. How are you feeling? She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. I'm okay. Rachel said she was bringing me some lunch. Isn't she sweet? Sweet. The word makes my stomach twist. I force a smile, pushing down the anger building in my chest. Yeah, she's sweet. Mom's gaze drifts to the ceiling, her eyes clouding over. She bought me a dress last week, said it was a gift. It was so pretty, but I never saw it again. A chill runs down my spine. You didn't see it again? She shakes her head, her brow furrowing. I asked Rachel about it, and she said it got ruined in the wash. But I don't remember wearing it. I grit my teeth, my pulse quickening. A $327 charge at a boutique downtown. A dress Mom never wore. Rachel lied. Again. Mom, I say, leaning closer, do you remember Rachel buying anything else for you? Anything expensive? Mom's eyes flicker, her expression growing distant. She said she bought me some jewelry, but I never saw it. Maybe she's saving it for a special occasion. Or maybe she's wearing it herself. Before I can ask another question, the sound of the front door opening echoes through the house. Rachel, she's here. My heart races as I squeeze Mom's hand. Get some rest, okay? I'll check on you later. Mom nods, her eyes already closing, drifting back into that foggy haze. I rise to my feet, swallowing the lump in my throat. Rachel is downstairs, humming as she unpacks takeout containers on the kitchen counter. She looks up as I enter, her smile as wide and fake as ever. Morning, sis. You look tired. I force a grin, hiding the storm raging inside me. Yeah, didn't sleep much. Rachel clucks her tongue, unpacking more containers. Well, you should. You're no good to Mom if you're a zombie. I clench my fist at my sides, my nails digging into my palms. I need proof. Concrete proof. Because if Rachel is lying about the dress, the jewelry, and the credit card charges, what else is she lying about? Later that afternoon, Rachel is in the living room, her voice loud and animated as she prattles on to Mom about some new skincare line she's discovered. Mom nods along, her eyes glazed over, her gaze fixed somewhere in the distance. I stand by the kitchen doorway, watching them, watching Rachel. She's leaning forward, her manicured nails glinting as she gestures dramatically, a chunky gold bracelet catching the light. a bracelet I'd never seen before, one that looked suspiciously like the one I noticed on last month's credit card statement. My jaw clenches as Rachel throws her head back in a fake laugh, oblivious to my scrutiny. "Oh, Mom, you should really try this serum," she says, holding up a tiny glass bottle with a designer label. "It's a miracle worker." Mom blinks slowly. "You already bought me some last month, sweetie. Remember?" Rachel's smile doesn't falter, but her eyes flick to me for a brief second before she responds. "Oh, right. Well, you can never have too much of a good thing." Mom nods, placated, while Rachel beams, her eyes glittering with barely concealed glee. I know that look. It's the look she always wore as a kid when she got away with something. I turn away, heading upstairs to Mom's room. I need to see that closet. The door creaks open as I step inside. The scent of lavender hangs in the air, mingling with the stale mustiness of old linens and forgotten clothes. The closet is a disaster. Clothes crammed together, shoes piled in a chaotic heap on the floor. I sift through blouses, sweaters, nightgowns. Nothing new, nothing luxurious, nothing that screams $327. My pulse quickens. If Rachel bought that dress, where is it? I pull open the bottom drawer and pause. There, shoved beneath a pile of old scarves, is a crumpled receipt. I unfold it, my heart pounding. A purchase from Bellamy's boutique. The date matches the credit card statement. The item: evening gown, gold, size 4. Size 4. Mom is a size 10. My hands shake as I clutch the receipt, my mind spinning. Rachel didn't buy that dress for Mom. She bought it for herself. And she used Mom's money to do it. Footsteps echo in the hallway. Rachel's voice, getting closer. I shove the receipt back into the drawer, slam it shut, and whirl around just as she steps into the room. "What are you doing?" she asks, her eyes narrowed, a forced smile still plastered on her face. I plaster on my own smile. "Just checking in on Mom. She seemed a bit confused earlier." Rachel's smile tightens. "She's fine. You know how she gets." "Right," I say, moving past her, feeling her eyes bore into my back as I head down the stairs. My palms are slick with sweat, the receipt's crumpled edges digging into my pocket. I need to get out of here. Outside, the sun is setting, casting long shadows across the lawn. I glance back at the house, the silhouette of Rachel's figure standing framed in the upstairs window, watching me. I head to my car, slamming the door shut and pressing my forehead against the steering wheel. The receipt burns a hole in my pocket, a tangible piece of evidence. But it's not enough. Not yet. I take a shaky breath and pull out my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I find the name. Carol Davis. Carol is Mom's neighbor, a nosy, talkative woman who knows everything about everyone in the neighborhood. If anyone saw Rachel strutting around in a gold evening gown, it would be her. I tap the screen, my thumb hovering over the call button. This is it, the next step. But as I lift the phone to my ear, a familiar dread settles in the pit of my stomach. What if Rachel finds out what I'm doing? What if she twists this, makes it look like I'm the one trying to stir up trouble? I squeeze my eyes shut, forcing back the doubts. I can't let her intimidate me. Not anymore. The line clicks, and Carol's voice crackles through the speaker. "Hello?" "Carol," I say, my voice steady. "I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me." Carol's voice is tinny over the phone, her words cutting through the silence of my car like shards of glass. "Oh, that dress? The gold one? Honey, I saw Rachel wearing it just last weekend," she says, the unmistakable tone of self-satisfaction in her voice. "She was parading around like she was the Queen of Sheba." My heart sinks. "You're sure it was her? And the dress? Are you certain it was gold?" "Oh, absolutely. It was that shimmery, flashy kind, you know? Bellamy's boutique. I remember because I asked her where she got it, and she just smirked and said, 'A little gift to myself.'" Gift to herself, paid for with our mother's money. The bile rises in my throat, but I force myself to stay calm. "Where did you see her?" "At that fancy new restaurant downtown. You know, the one with the chandeliers and the overpriced martinis," Carol continues. "She was with some guy. Tall, dark hair, looked like he had money. Not her husband, that's for sure. My fingers tighten around the steering wheel. Did she seem drunk? Oh, she was drinking all right, Carol says, and I can almost hear the smirk in her voice. They were laughing it up, all cozy and close. Not exactly what I'd call a sister visiting her sick mother. I thank Carol and hang up, my stomach twisting in knots. The dress, the restaurant, the mystery man. It all paints a picture I can no longer ignore. Rachel has been lying to me, to Mom, to everyone. But who is she lying to most? I push open the car door and head back inside. The house is quiet now. Mom is napping in her room, and Rachel is nowhere to be seen. I take a deep breath and move through the hallway, my eyes scanning for any signs of Rachel's recent shopping spree. I find it in the laundry room, a pile of clothes dumped carelessly on the floor, a gold shimmer peeking out from beneath a stack of towels. My heart pounds as I kneel down and lift the towel, revealing the dress. The tag is still attached, Bellamy's Boutique, size 4. I run my fingers over the delicate fabric, the sequins catching the light. This dress could pay for weeks of Mom's medication, months of her physical therapy. Instead, it's crumpled on the laundry room floor like a discarded piece of trash. Footsteps echo down the hallway. I freeze, my pulse hammering in my ears. Rachel appears in the doorway, her face flushed, her eyes narrowing as they land on the dress in my hands. "What are you doing?" she asks, her voice cold and sharp. I swallow hard, standing up, the dress clutched in my fists. "What am I doing? What are you doing, Rachel? Why are you buying yourself dresses with Mom's money? Dresses she'll never wear." Rachel's jaw tightens, her eyes darkening. "You're overreacting." Am I? I hold up the dress, the price tag dangling between us like a noose. This cost over $300, and it wasn't the only charge. What about the jewelry, the shoes, the restaurant bills? Rachel's smile is razor thin, her eyes glittering. "You're imagining things, Lisa. You've always been dramatic." My stomach twists. She's using that voice again, the one she always uses when she wants me to feel crazy, paranoid, wrong. "Mom doesn't even remember what day it is," Rachel continues, folding her arms across her chest. "She'd never notice a few charges here and there, and neither would you if you weren't so obsessed with trying to make me look bad." I step forward, the dress crumpled in my hands. "This isn't about you looking bad, Rachel. This is about Mom. This is about her money. Money she's worked her whole life for. Money you're burning through like it's yours." Rachel's smile widens, and for a split second I see it, the flash of fear behind her eyes. But then she laughs. "You're so paranoid, Lisa. Maybe you should talk to someone about that. Get some help." The words sting like a slap, and I feel the heat rising to my face, but I refuse to look away. "I'm not the one who needs help," I say, my voice trembling. "But Mom does, and if I find out you've been stealing from her?" Rachel's eyes narrow, her smile fading. "You don't have proof." Yet. Without another word, I drop the dress at her feet and turn away, my heart pounding, my mind racing. I need proof, real proof, proof that even Rachel can't weasel her way out of. And now I know exactly where to get it. I pace the hallway, my heart pounding as I run through my options. Rachel is getting bolder, more reckless. If she's confident enough to parade around in that dress in public, then she's certain I won't, or can't, do anything to stop her. I head to Mom's room, where Rachel has been keeping all the financial records under the guise of managing things for Mom. Mom's napping, her face pale and gaunt against the pillows. The sight of her like this sends a pang of guilt through me. This is what Rachel's neglect has done. Drained her of everything, not just money, but the spark she used to have. My hands tremble as I open the drawer by Mom's bed. Inside are a jumble of bank statements, credit card bills, and unpaid medical invoices. Rachel has been stacking everything together, burying evidence under a mountain of paperwork, probably hoping I'd never look. But I do. I spread the papers across the bed, scanning the statements for any sign of Rachel's spending spree. At first, everything seems normal. Routine expenses, grocery bills, pharmacy charges. But then I spot it. A charge for $1,200 at Bellamy's Boutique, dated just days before Carol saw Rachel in that gold dress. My breath catches. There it is. Proof. But I need more. I dig deeper, sorting through the stack, tossing aside envelopes and bills. My hands move faster, more frantic. Then I find it. A credit card statement in Mom's name, a card I didn't even know she had. And the charges? Thousands of dollars at high-end stores, spa treatments, and luxury restaurants. There's a receipt for a diamond bracelet, $3,500, and another for a hotel room at the Riverstone Inn, booked under Rachel's name but paid for with Mom's card. My stomach churns as I take it all in. Rachel's been using Mom as her personal ATM, and Mom doesn't even know it. I grab my phone, snapping photos of everything, the receipts, the statements, the credit card bill. My hands shake so badly that some of the pictures blur, but I don't care. I need to document all of it before Rachel finds out what I'm doing. I hear a noise behind me, the creak of the floorboard outside Mom's room. I whip around, shoving the papers back into the drawer, my heart hammering. Rachel stands in the doorway, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. "What are you doing?" she asks, her tone deceptively calm. I force a smile, closing the drawer slowly. Just sorting through Mom's things, making sure everything's in order. Rachel's eyes flick to the drawer, then back to me. "Since when do you care about Mom's things?" "Since you started acting like her money was yours to spend," I say, the words slipping out before I can stop them. Rachel's jaw tightens, but she recovers quickly, her expression softening into one of mock concern. "You're really losing it, Lisa. Maybe you should get some help. You've been so stressed lately." There it is again, the gaslighting, the attempt to make me question my own sanity. But this time, it doesn't work. Not with the evidence burning a hole in my pocket. I push past her, my shoulder grazing hers as I walk out. Rachel grabs my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "You need to stop this," she hisses, her breath hot against my ear. "You're just making things worse for yourself." I pull away, glaring at her. "You're the one making things worse, Rachel. And when Mom finds out what you've done..." Rachel laughs, a low, hollow sound. "Who's going to believe you? You've been in and out of here for months. I'm the one who's been here, taking care of her. You? You're just the absentee daughter who swoops in to play hero. But guess what? No one asked for your help." Her words slice through me, but I don't let her see it. I walk down the hall, my steps heavy but steady. As I pass the living room, I spot Carol watching us from her window, her eyes narrowed, lips pursed. She gives me a tiny nod, a silent affirmation. I step outside, sucking in a lungful of air. The sun is too bright, the air too warm. I feel dizzy, disoriented, like the ground is shifting beneath me. But then I remember the photos in my phone, the proof. I text Carol, "Need to talk. Urgent." Her reply comes almost instantly. "Come over now." I cross the lawn, my fists clenched. This time, I won't let Rachel win. Not without a fight. Carol's house is dark, the blinds drawn, and the air inside smells faintly of stale coffee and old perfume. She gestures for me to sit, her eyes darting nervously to the window, as if expecting Rachel to appear any second. "So," she says, folding her hands tightly in her lap. "You wanted to know more about the dress?" "Yes," I say, my voice firm. "And anything else you might have seen." Carol leans back, her eyes gleaming with a mix of curiosity and something else I can't quite place. "Rachel's been entertaining," she says, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I've seen her coming and going at odd hours, always dressed to the nines, always with that same man, tall dark hair, fancy car." My heart races. "What kind of car?" "A black BMW, Carol says, her lips twitching into a smile. "License plate starts with 4GR. I see it parked outside your mother's house all the time when you're not there." A black BMW. That's not just a random stranger. That's Chris, Rachel's ex-boyfriend. The one she swore she was done with. The one who had a history of manipulating Rachel and using her for money. "Are you sure it was him?" I ask, my mind spinning. "Oh, it was him," Carol says, leaning forward. "I heard them arguing once. She was yelling at him to keep quiet and stick to the plan." The plan. The word sends a chill through me. What else did you hear? I press, feeling a knot form in my stomach. Carol hesitates, her eyes darting to the window again. Look, Lisa, I don't want to get involved in a family feud, but I will say this. Rachel's playing a dangerous game, and I don't think she's doing it alone. What do you mean? She leans closer, her voice dropping even lower. I've seen her hand Chris cash, a lot of it, envelopes stuffed with money, and it's not just him. She's been meeting with other people too, strangers, men in suits. They're always quick to leave, but I've seen them. My pulse quickens. This is bigger than I thought. Rachel isn't just splurging on herself, she's paying people off. But for what? Why are you telling me all this now? I ask, eyes narrowing. Carol fidgets, her fingers twisting around each other. Because I know what it's like to be blindsided by someone you trust, she says, her eyes softening. My ex-husband drained my bank account while I was in the hospital. I didn't see it coming until it was too late. And I see the same look in your eyes that I saw in the mirror back then. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I swallow hard, fighting back tears. Thank you, I manage to say. I leave Carol's house with a head full of questions and a heart pounding with urgency. Outside, the night air is thick and heavy, and I clutch my phone tightly, scrolling through the photos of the receipts. I need more. I drive straight to Mom's house, my knuckles white against the steering wheel. Inside, the lights are off. Rachel's car is gone, and Mom is asleep. The air is still, eerily so, and I creep down the hallway toward Rachel's room. I've never been in here before. It feels wrong, like an invasion of privacy. But then I remember Carol's words. Rachel's playing a dangerous game. Inside, the room is a mess. Clothes strewn across the floor, empty wine bottles on the nightstand. I step over a pile of shoes, my eyes scanning the surfaces. And then I see it, a black leather notebook half hidden under a stack of magazines. I pull it free, my breath catching as I flip it open. Inside, it's filled with scribbled notes, dates, amounts of money. All the money she's been siphoning from Mom's account. $1,200, Bellamy's Boutique, $3,500, Diamond Bracelet, $800, Riverstone Inn, Chris, $2,000, Cash Withdrawal, Chris, Keep Quiet. The entries go on and on, a catalog of betrayal laid out in Rachel's loopy handwriting. My heart pounds. There's a section labeled Plan, and beneath it, a list of bullet points. Move cash before Lisa finds out, keep Chris quiet. Get Mom to sign POA, Power of Attorney. My blood runs cold. She's not just draining Mom's account, she's planning to take full control. Before I can process it, I hear the unmistakable sound of the front door slamming shut. Rachel's home. I shove the notebook back under the magazines and scramble to the door, my heart hammering in my chest. I slip into the hallway just as Rachel's heels click against the hardwood floor, her shadow stretching long and dark against the wall. She's humming, a low, eerie tune that echoes through the house. I press myself against the wall, holding my breath as she passes, her eyes straight ahead, her lips curled into a satisfied smile. And in her hand, she's clutching an envelope, thick and stuffed with cash. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, all I could see were the bullet points from Rachel's notebook. Move cash before Lisa finds out. Keep Chris quiet. Get Mom to sign POA. That last one echoed in my mind like a death knell. Power of Attorney. Rachel was planning to legally strip Mom of any control, and once she did, she could drain every last cent without consequence. And if she got away with it, Mom would be left penniless, vulnerable, and utterly powerless, just the way Rachel wanted her. The next morning, I was in the kitchen, staring blankly at a cup of untouched coffee when Rachel waltzed in. She was wearing a silk robe, her hair tousled, a smug smile playing at her lips. "Morning," she chirped, as if we were just two sisters enjoying a casual day. I forced a smile. "You were out late." "Oh, just catching up with some old friends," she said, leaning against the counter and pouring herself a cup of coffee. "You know how it is." "Must have been a good night," I said, watching her closely. "You were humming when you came in." Rachel's eyes flicked to me, her smile tight. I was? Yeah. Seemed like you were in a really good mood. For a second, her eyes narrowed, but then the mask slipped back into place. Just enjoying life, Lisa. Maybe you should try it sometime. I bit my tongue, resisting the urge to confront her right then and there. Instead, I watched as she sashayed down the hallway, her robe fluttering behind her. I needed that notebook. But how? I glanced at the clock. Rachel would be leaving soon for one of her appointments. Maybe that would give me enough time. An hour later, Rachel breezed out the door, her perfume trailing behind her. The second her car roared down the street, I moved. I hurried to her room, heart pounding, eyes darting to the window every few seconds. Inside, the room was still a mess. I scanned the piles of clothes and the stacks of magazines. There. The black leather notebook was still half hidden beneath a stack of fashion magazines. I grabbed it, flipping it open, my hands shaking as I scanned the pages. The entries were worse than I remembered. Payments to Chris weren't just for keeping quiet. They were payments for staging. Staging what? There were notes about convincing Mom to sign papers, manipulating her into thinking it was for her own good. And one entry stood out in bold, underlined twice. Chris to help convince Mom. Make it look like Lisa's idea. My blood ran cold. They were planning to frame me. A car door slammed outside. My head snapped up. Panic surged through me as I shoved the notebook back under the magazines and darted out of the room. Rachel's heels clicked against the hardwood floor as she entered, phone pressed to her ear. I slid into the kitchen, pretending to wash a glass. No, Rachel was saying, her voice tight. I need it done by next week. Yes, the power of attorney papers. Chris said he could handle it, but I need confirmation. My stomach churned. Rachel sauntered into the kitchen, tossing her bag onto the counter, her eyes scanning me with a look that made my skin crawl. Who were you talking to? I asked, trying to keep my voice casual. Just some work stuff, she said, her smile too sweet. You know how it is. I swallowed, the taste of bile rising in my throat. Rachel was getting closer to solidifying her plan, and I was running out of time. That night, I couldn't stay in the house. The walls felt like they were closing in, Rachel's perfume clinging to every corner. I needed air. I grabbed my coat and headed for the car, dialing Carol's number as I backed out of the driveway. Lisa? Carol's voice was muffled, like she was trying to be quiet. What's going on? I need to talk to you, I said, gripping the steering wheel. It's about the POA. Rachel's trying to get my mom to sign over power of attorney, and she's using Chris to make it happen. There was a long pause. You need to be careful, Carol said finally. I've seen Chris hanging around with some shady people lately. He's not just doing this for Rachel. What do you mean? I heard him talking to someone the other night. He was bragging about how he was going to get paid once Rachel was in control. He said something about a payoff, something big. A payoff. Rachel was planning to bleed Mom dry and then cut Chris a deal, and I was the one they were going to pin it on. What do I do? I asked, my voice trembling. You need proof, Carol said. Real proof. Otherwise, it's just your word against theirs. I have the notebook, I whispered, but I can't get it without Rachel knowing. Carol was silent for a moment. Then you need a witness, someone who can back you up, someone Rachel trusts. Who? Carol hesitated. Chris. The suggestion hit me like a slap. Chris? The same Chris who was Rachel's accomplice? The same Chris who was willing to help Rachel frame me? Lisa, Carol said, her voice lowering. If Chris thinks Rachel's about to cut him out of the deal, he might be more willing to talk. You just have to make it worth his while. I hung up, my mind spinning. Chris was a snake, but maybe, just maybe, he was a snake who could be persuaded to bite the hand that fed him. And if I played this right, I might just get the proof I needed to take Rachel down. The tension in the house was thick enough to cut with a knife. Rachel had been pacing the hallway all morning, phone pressed to her ear, her voice sharp and tense. I lingered by the kitchen, pretending to scrub the same dish for the past 10 minutes, straining to catch fragments of her conversation. Yes, Chris, I know what you said, Rachel snapped, her heels clicking against the floor. But if you don't get Mom to sign those papers today, the whole plan falls apart. My blood ran cold. Today. She was planning to make her move today. I dried my hands, forcing my face into a mask of calm as Rachel stormed into the kitchen. Her eyes were wild, her hair disheveled, and for once, the smug, polished Rachel was nowhere to be found. "You okay?" I asked, feigning innocence. She gave me a withering look. "Fine," she snapped, yanking open the fridge and grabbing a water bottle. "Why wouldn't I be?" I shrugged, watching as she chugged the water in one long, angry gulp. "I don't know. You just seem stressed." Rachel slammed the empty bottle onto the counter, her eyes narrowing at me. "If you're so concerned about Mom, why don't you actually do something useful for once and get out of my way?" I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to remain calm. "Just let me know if you need anything," I said sweetly, before slipping out of the kitchen. I had to find Chris. Now. Outside, the wind whipped through the trees, sending a chill down my spine. I climbed into my car, my hands shaking as I started the engine. Chris's apartment was a 10-minute drive, but it felt like hours. The entire way, my mind spun with possibilities. What if he refused to talk? What if he warned Rachel that I was onto them? But what if he didn't? I parked outside his rundown building, the paint peeling and the windows grimy. As I stepped out of the car, I spotted Chris slouched against the wall, cigarette dangling from his lips. His eyes met mine, and a slow, cynical smile spread across his face. "Well, well," he said, flicking the ash from his cigarette. "Look who decided to slum it." I ignored the jab, stepping closer. "We need to talk." Chris raised an eyebrow, taking a long drag. "About what? The weather?" "About Rachel," I said, my voice firm. "I know what she's doing." His smile widened, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You know what she's doing? And what exactly is she doing, Lisa?" I swallowed, my throat tight. "She's trying to get power of attorney over Mom, and you're helping her." Chris chuckled, shaking his head. "Wow, you really are dumber than you look." I took a step closer, lowering my voice. "I saw the notebook, Chris. I saw the payments. I know she's paying you to convince Mom to sign the papers. But what you don't know is that Rachel's planning to cut you out. She's going to pin this all on you." His expression darkened, the smirk falling from his face. "You're lying." "Am I?" I said, folding my arms. "Ask yourself this. Why hasn't she paid you the full amount yet? Why is she dragging it out, keeping you on a leash?" Chris's jaw clenched, his eyes darting away. I could see the gears turning, the seeds of doubt taking root. "What do you want?" he muttered, his voice low. "I want Rachel's notebook," I said. "The one where she's documented everything, the spending, the payments to you, the plans to get the POA signed. You get me that notebook, and I'll make sure you don't go down with her." Chris's eyes narrowed. "And what's stopping me from running straight to Rachel and telling her about this little conversation?" I stepped even closer, my face inches from his. "Because if you do, I'll make sure every single person in this town knows exactly what you did, including the cops." Chris's eyes flicked over my shoulder, his jaw working. Then, finally, he nodded. "Fine," he said. "But if you screw me over, Lisa, you won't just have Rachel to worry about." I turned on my heel and walked back to the car, every nerve in my body tingling with adrenaline. I had just made a deal with the devil. Now I just had to pray he wouldn't double-cross me. Chris stands at the door, his face pale and drawn. He thrust the notebook into my hands, his eyes darting nervously down the hallway. "She knows," he whispers, voice shaking. "Rachel knows I took it. She's going to come after me, Lisa." I clutched the notebook, feeling the weight of months of deception and betrayal compressed into its pages. This is it. The proof I need to expose Rachel's scheme. "Are you going to testify?" I ask, meeting Chris's eyes. He swallows hard, glancing over his shoulder. "I don't have a choice. She's unraveling, Lisa. I can't go down with her." Before I can respond, the sound of Rachel's car screeching into the driveway sends a jolt of adrenaline through me. Chris bolts, disappearing into the night. I close the door, locking it, my heart hammering in my chest. I rush to Mom's room, where she's dozing lightly, oblivious to the chaos. I tuck the notebook under my sweater and pull out my phone. 911. What's your emergency? Please, send someone quickly, I whisper, peering through the blinds as Rachel storms up the front walk. My sister's trying to take over my mother's estate. I have evidence of financial fraud. The operator assures me help is on the way, but I can already hear Rachel pounding on the door. Lisa, she screams, I know you have it. Open the door. I brace myself, adrenaline surging as I press my back against the door. It's over, Rachel, I call out, my voice trembling but firm. I have everything. The receipts, the statements, your notes. It's all here. There's a moment of silence, then a deafening crash as Rachel kicks the door. You don't know what you're talking about. You're insane. Am I shout back, stepping away from the door. Or am I the one who finally saw through you? Suddenly, the wail of sirens cuts through the air. Red and blue lights flash through the windows, casting eerie shadows across the walls. Rachel's shouts become incoherent, a mix of rage and desperation as two officers pull her back from the door. Lisa, she screams as they cuff her. You can't do this. You can't take everything from me. I step outside, the notebook clutched to my chest. No, Rachel, I say, voice steady as the officers lead her to the patrol car. That's what you did to Mom, and now it's over. 2 weeks later, the house is finally quiet. Peaceful. Mom sits on the porch, a warm breeze rustling her silver hair. The dark circles under her eyes have started to fade, and she looks more like herself, strong, alert, the woman who raised me. How are you feeling? I ask, placing a cup of tea in her hands. Better, she says, her voice stronger. Thank you, Lisa, for everything. Tears prick my eyes, but they're tears of relief. You don't have to thank me, Mom. We're in this together. Rachel is awaiting trial, facing charges of elder abuse and financial fraud. Chris has agreed to testify, his statement corroborating the evidence from the notebook. Carol, who saw Rachel at the upscale restaurant with Chris, is more than willing to testify as well. Any news about Rachel? Mom asks, her eyes clouding with concern. I hesitate, then nod. She's in a facility now. They're evaluating her. The court thinks she may need treatment. Mom sighs, her shoulders slumping. She was always so angry, so bitter. I don't understand where it all came from. I place a comforting hand on hers. You did everything you could for her, but now it's time to focus on you. Mom smiles, the lines around her eyes softening. You're right. It's time for a fresh start. Later that evening, I sit at the kitchen table, flipping through the pages of Rachel's notebook. The anger and resentment scrawled across the pages, lists of expenses, plans to control Mom's assets, strategies to cut me out, feel like echoes from a past life. I close the notebook and place it in a box labeled Evidence. It's over now. As I head to the living room, Mom is watching one of her favorite shows, laughing at a joke on screen. I curl up beside her, feeling the warmth of her presence, the familiarity of her scent. You know what, Mom? I say, leaning my head against her shoulder. We're going to be okay. She wraps her arm around me, squeezing gently. Yes, Lisa, we are. The house is quiet, but it's a comforting kind of silence, the kind that says we've survived the storm and finally found our way back to calm.